I want to welcome you to my Facebook Live call tonight with a statement, a never failing action plan. And that's what I'm going to talk about for marketing for 40 years. I share a lot of what I've learned on my journey on these live calls. And I was the guy that started in this business totally broke, sold a junk truck to get started. And for the last, 26 years now, going on 27, I've been full-time in network marketing. So I'm going to give some acknowledgments out to those joining. And John Perez, I tell you, man, I tell you what, in the Wild West, you'd have been a gunslinger, man. I tell you, you'd be good at it. Good to see you. And let's see who else is going to join us this evening. Give it a little time to load. And we go. Some are afraid to come out of the woods. Hey, Barry Blake in New Zealand. Nice to see you, my friend. And Flavio in Ecuador. Nice to see you as well, my friend. Good to see you as well. Yeah, I guess the weather's pretty warm in Miami. You're doing good. Rees, nice to see you as well. Felipe down in Florida, good to see you. Annyeonghaseyo, Miss Lee, nice to see you. And Shirley in Indonesia. And Miss Lee in South Korea, nice to see you. Wow, New Zealand, South Korea, Indonesia. Nice to see you, Shirley. Good to see you. Amazing. And then Ecuador we had, and Ahmed in Singapore. Asia is really showing up tonight, man. Look at that. Awesome. Good to see you, Miss Lee. She sent me some Korean characters, and I can't read them. If anybody can read that, I'm going to give you my book for free, okay? And good to see you, Moss. Nice to see you. Good to see you as well. And let's see George in New York City. Good to see you, George. Nice to see you on the call tonight. And Louise, good to see you as well. So I know some others will be joining this call as we get into this call. It's good to see so many of you. So last night, I don't know that you had a chance last night when I talked about goals and the meaning of goals and how you should think and feel about them, and most importantly, how your people, your team should feel different about goals. Very important. So I'm going to go into just a little more detail about those steps I talked about last night, because there wasn't enough time to do all that. And Eula, nice to see you from Indonesia. Good to see you. Good to see you. So you remember last night I talked about the speed that you end this year with. We're talking about less than 6 weeks. The speed in which you end this year is the speed that you will begin a new year. We got to wrap our mind around that, because most people are going to take their foot off the gas and they're going to go to sleep. The majority of network marketers will do that. If you wonder why a small percentage ever make the big money, it's because they don't do that. That's the difference. They don't do that. They understand that what that's going to cost them. Because if they finish out this year with very little speed, that's what they begin the new year with. And then they're trying to wake everyone up. They spend the whole month of January trying to wake everybody up. That's what you don't want to do. That's a recipe for disaster. So now, what does that not mean? It doesn't mean that you don't enjoy time with your family during the holidays and things like that. Of course you do. But to take a permanent vacation in the month, and it's coming up Thanksgiving this month, and then on into the holiday season, the Christmas holiday season, is a big mistake. That's a big mistake. Keep in mind, in my last company that I joined 21 years ago, next month, it was December that I was sponsored by somebody. It was December. So the speed that you end this year with is what you begin with next year. And importantly, I want you to keep in mind, when you go into the new year, have that attitude every month. The speed that you end a month is the speed that you begin a new month. There's a reason why teams have momentum. There's a reason why teams have speed. There's a reason why the majority of their leaders are getting the awards and going across stage. And everybody's going, gee whiz, man, why is it always that team? Right. It's because they have urgency. They have speed in their business. Their leaders sense it. Now that, again, they have a life. But what they don't do is they don't take too much time away from their business. They stay active. They stay involved in it. So again, it's not just how we end this year and begin a new year. When we start that new year, every month we need to apply this information I'm going to be sharing with you. So you remember last night I said the purpose of the goal, and I quote my great friend Bob Heilig. I love him because we're good friends, and he's just a good friend of mine. But I remember at a legacy training he did, he talked about that. The purpose of the goal is not to hit the goal. The purpose of the goal is to get you to stretch. It is to get you to become more. It is to get you to believe more. That's the first thing. The second purpose of setting a goal is that even if you don't reach the goal, and most will not, the business activity that you created despite that was significant. The leadership that you brought into your team was significant. That's the purpose of the goal. I could probably say that every goal I ever set in this business, I never made it. And yet in this profession, the way that we were all taught is if you don't make your goal, you failed. And we're supposed to feel bad about it. Well, if most of us are never going to achieve our goals, I guess we're just going to feel bad all the time about being in this business. Who the heck would want to be in this business, right? Doesn't make any sense. So that's why it's important to teach our leaders a different definition of how to view goal setting. Goal setting is important. We don't set the goal to fail. See, we need that. We need that in front of us. And at times we're going to achieve it. We're going to hit that goal. Most of the times we're not, but man, the good that we do will grow. The good that we do will get us a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later to where we want to be. And that's the good thing that goals do. And that's the reason why we got to set them. It's like baseball players. Think about it. The best hitters in baseball are also the ones who strike out the most. If they were judged by their strikeouts, no team would ever sign them. If they could look at in the future, those managers, and just see the strikeouts that those players would get, but they never saw in the future their home runs, they would never sign them. They would say they're losers. I don't want him. The only thing I saw was, he kept striking out. So in network marketing, it's the same, my friends. So if you really want to help your people to feel better, do more, help them have a different definition and understanding of what goal setting is. It is there to make you a better version of yourself. The goal is not to hit the goal. The goal is to cause you to stretch, become more, and be a better version of yourself. Number one. Number two, to create, as a result of the activity, it will create business, new leadership, more people joining your team. Even though you didn't hit the goal, you did a lot of good. And guess what? That's going to make a big impact on the following week. We're talking about the rest of this year. And I want to focus it more on what do we do this year. But you can still take these principles, and you should take these principles on a never failing action plan and apply it into your new year and help your people to understand that. So that's very important. So, again, the reason why most people fail is because they've been trained to believe that if they do not hit their goal, they're a failure. We want to erase that, get that out of their heads. So, and here's the thing, remember this, people can fail in the goal, but they will never fail in the activity. If we get our leaders focused on the activity every month, even if they don't reach the goal, look at what that will do to your business and how it'll change your business. So our job role is, as leaders, is to give it a different, help these leaders understand, have a different definition of what goal setting is. So here's the thing, as each week ends this year, we only got less than 5, we got 5 weeks left, 5.5, something like that. I forget the date. As each week ends, and you can also say this as each month ends in the new year, okay, when you go into the new year, because you're going to take this action plan and do the same thing into the new year. Then just ask yourself, what lessons can I learn from the previous week? Lessons that can be learned. There's always lessons that can be learned. Things that were not done right, perhaps on our end as a leader, we didn't, work with our leaders like we should have, or we didn't prepare them like we should have, or we didn't train them like we should have. Whatever lessons those are, review that. Review that on Sunday before you begin a new week. And then that week, take those lessons and apply them so that you're going to have a better week. It's most important that you do that, review that. And, if there's anything that you could have did differently, then do it differently the following week. Those are the things we need to do. And then who do you need to work with in your team to get better results in your own business? I mean, the focus, and we talked about that last night. If you want to know what your goals are, ask your leaders. Your leaders' goals are your goals. And if you really get behind that and you have a servant mentality of really helping them to achieve their goals, then that's going to organically push you up. Now, I'll have to say that you got to be strategic about it, because if you look at your own organization and get a report, look at your structure, your legs, your teams, the stronger versus the weaker. Where is it that if you want to go to that next rank, where do you have to go? Because in order for you to rank up, they've got to rank up, at least your weaker legs, right? If you want to get that trip, that company reward trip, if you want to increase your income or get into that new bonus pool, then you understand that you're going to have to work with those other weaker legs in order to achieve that. Because that stronger leg might be doing very well. So then you have to be strategic about your time with the remaining weeks of this year. And going into the new year, you'll have to be strategic as well if you want to rank up. So where do you need to spend that time? Who do you need to spend that time with? Those are the questions that need to be asked. And if you pull reports, especially every month, and then look at your structure and see how it's doing. Is it growing? Is it progressing? And if you have new leaders that are joining your team, do you know these leaders? Are you getting familiar with these leaders? So those are the things we want to think about. So again, these are questions we need to ask every week, the remaining weeks of this year, if you want to have speed in your business, and as a result, go into that new year with speed. And remember, success loves speed. That's the key. So some questions to ask yourself. Do you have a system for determining who to work with every month? So again, you need to look into your team for those people who are really showing up. They're showing up. That doesn't mean they're always getting results, okay? Some people, that's the only time that they'll give them, give those kind of people too. Some leaders are just that way. They're only going to give it to leaders who are producing results. I can tell you there's a lot of great people that I've worked with that did not produce results, but they were raising their hand saying, I really want to do this. And I worked with some great people who became great. So don't judge them by results. Judge them by their attitude. Do they really have the motivation? Are they showing up? Are they talking, or are they walking the talk? And that's what you want to do. You want to work and reach out for those people. And keep in mind, the independents, leaders that are independent, usually don't ask. They usually don't ask. And that's the reason why you have to ask them. Hey, I really value you. I think you're awesome. You've done some great things. What can I do to help you, get to where you want to go? And it's those kind of people that at that time they'll say, well, you could help out here, here, here. Biggest mistake that a lot of leaders make is they think that because they're independent and doing well, that they don't need them. And actually, those are the people that need your help the most. Again, be strategic. I know that if it's a bigger leg for you, that you got to work with your weaker legs. I get that. But at the same time, don't neglect it, especially if it's not at least five generations or 5 levels, or we can say 5 leaders in a leg, top, pin, deep. At least your top or your second to the top. Whatever your pin levels are in your plan. If you're not 4 deep in a leg with those people, then it's not a cooked leg. I call those cooked legs. And so that means that's still going to need some of your time. So don't neglect it. Look in there and look for people that you can work with. And then here's the second thing, questions to ask yourself. Do you know the goals of those leaders? Do you know their goals? Now, again, to do that, then you need to know, and that's the third point, and that is the reason for the goals. Why are they doing this? What are their dreams? What do they want to achieve? Some people, they just want to rank up, man. They love goals. They just want to achieve something in their life. They might have a rich spouse, so it's not like they're hurting for money, right? They still love recognition. They thrive on recognition. On the other hand, it might be a thing that a woman wants to quit her job and be a stay-at-home mom. She wants that. She wants to be able to do that. Okay, that's a goal. Another person is paying off credit cards. That's a goal. With somebody, they might want to be able to afford a better home, a better house rather. That's a goal. Get familiar with those goals. Talk to those leaders. Find out what's going on. So last night, and I want to cover a little more on the steps. Step 1, and that is, again, slow down to speed up. Slow down to speed up, and that is Spend some time getting to know the people. You know, we live in an age now where some people have it just down to Facebook groups and Facebook Messenger, autoresponders, you know, systems, but it's not about the people. It's not communicating. It's not talking. We've got to do that. We got to slow down if we ever want to speed up in this business. And that is create the relationships with these leaders. I'm going to tell you, that's the glue. That's the sticky stuff that will keep a team with you, like mine, 21 years. How many people do you know out there that even has a team? Barely 10 years old. And mine's 21. How do you do that? You got to do some right things. That's right. You got to get good at the sticky stuff. It is a relationship business. And it is about breaking bread with them, going places with them, doing things with them, crying with them, finding out what's going on, their problems in life. A lot of leaders are like, I don't want to hear about your problems, man. You know, you're a distributor in my group. Okay. You know, welcome to the team. Okay. I mean, I've played just about every role you can ever play out there. You know, just being a friend, like I said, just being there with them. But then sometimes I feel like I'm a marriage counselor. I feel like I'm a pastor. I feel like, you know, I'm giving advice as far as how to deal with finances and things like that. I've done so much, you know, with just helping friends try to really have a better way of life. But that's what we have to do is find out in your team who needs help. What do they want to do? That's the first step. What do they really want? What's the one thing that if they could have it would make such a difference in their life? That's the question to ask. And then watch what they say. Take notes. Take notes. Here's your goal. Your goal every month. Now, we're going to say every week right now because this is it for the remaining part of this year. And you only got like I said, less than 6 weeks. Find 6 dedicated people on your team. And if you don't have 6, then start sponsoring someone now. But find 6 dedicated people on your team that really want this. They're hungry. I mean, they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And they're ready to run. Find 6 that want to run. You know that you'd be amazed how many people will really reach out to you if they know that you'll really support them. So you can even announce it in your Facebook group. But again, if you want to be strategic, start calling down into your legs, especially your weaker legs, and find out who's willing to run, who still has dreams, who still really wants to achieve something this year and is not going to quit. Identify those 6. And when you go into that next year, when you go into, January, when you go into January, find 6 that are ready to run. When you go into February, find 6 that are ready to run. When you go into March, find 6 that are ready to run. It won't be always the same people. It doesn't matter. I didn't work with the same people. I went down into my legs. That was the strength. That was the secret to my success. That was how I have 700,000 distributors in 57 countries today. Because I picked up the freaking phone and did something few people do now. Talk. Hey, how you doing? I did it after I finished my live call last night. I called a leader in Jakarta, Indonesia. Late last night. After I did my live, that's what I did. If you wonder what I did after my live last night, that's exactly what I did. I called him up because I felt he was slacking. He wasn't performing what he was at a level he was capable of doing. I wanted to talk to him about it because I know his quality. He's awesome. So the thing about it is, that's what we have to do. And again, we're not critical of our people. We're not. Again, we come with a service mentality. Hey, what can I do to help? So then, and then step 2 is help them set those goals. We're not talking about unrealistic goals here. We're talking about realistic goals. Things that they can do. Find out what their goals are. And let them know that as they are committed to that goal, You are committed to seeing them succeed in that goal. But again, they need to understand that we have a different definition of what goals mean. If you don't achieve the goal by the end of this year, that doesn't mean you're a failure, because now you've become more. Now you're a larger version of yourself. Look at the activity and what you accomplished. And you wouldn't have done that if you didn't have that goal. So we help them, we massage them, we help them to understand what that means. That's the important thing. So we want to have that same thinking every month into the new year. So, and here's one thing I want you to do. And you might be able to do this. You could do this probably every week. Every week, pull your reports on the legs that you're working with for the remaining weeks of this year. Those people, and what you can do is you can also, like with me, I remember one leader I talked to, and she expressed the desire to do better, do more, wanted to achieve better. And I pulled a report on her, a rank report, and I looked at it. And I get a very clear picture of what's going on in her team, what she needs to do. So you can do that. So these same individuals that you are going to run with, help, and work with, pull reports, look every week at what's going on. Is the volume is increasing? The amount of customers, the amount of distributors or affiliates, whatever you want to call them, is that increasing in the week? Can you see that? Again, if you don't know your numbers, that's a problem. Because if you don't know your numbers, you're not in business. Numbers are your business. Numbers don't lie. It's the old saying, figures don't lie and liars don't figure. But you have to know your numbers, because that's reality. We can't be in fantasy. I mean, of course we like to pump ourselves up every day and do affirmations or whatever. Okay, that's good, that's fine, but you got to know what you got. And a lot of leaders don't know what they got. They just hope for the best. But they don't look at reports. They don't go in the back office. They don't look at nothing. And then and when the month is over, they're going to go, man, what happened, man? I mean, she said, he said, and whatever, and they didn't do nothing. Okay, that's the problem. You got to know where you are. Every week, as the week ends, the remaining weeks of this year, you got to know where you're at. And you got to be real with yourself. That's most important. So step 3, find that minimum base of activity that they can do. That means what they can do, means what's realistic. And it's different with different people. You can have some people that can do a power hour every day. A power hour where they're if you got a new person that just joined, they've made their list, their warm market list now. You've onboarded them correctly. They understand, what they need to do. You've given them a few action steps, and that's all they need to do in order to prospect someone and get them to make a decision as a customer or as a distributor to join you. And so consistently, if that's what they can do is a power hour every day, then fine. Some people are doing 15-minute blitzes every day. Some people have work schedules and all that. So what they're doing is they're reaching out to people in Facebook, and they got a goal of, blitzing out and reaching out to so many people every day for 15 minutes. And then at the end of the week, then they catch up on the interest that some of those people have shown, and they've gotten results. Whatever it is, and that's the important thing, is that when you establish that baseline of activity, it's going to be different with different people. Some are going to be part-time. Some are going to be full-time. Some are going to be no time. What good is no time, Jeff? No time is still okay. They're customers. You need them. That's right. You're going to find that the majority of your team is going to be made up of customers. So, but you got to know what you got. And if you want to get to the next rank, well, you're going to have to find some people who are hungry. That's not a customer. You want to find somebody who wants to be in business and wants to work. Of course, they're going to generate a lot of customers in their business. That's what it's all about, right? But those kind of people create business and they know how to attract people to them. So your job is to not live in la la land, be in reality, be a numbers person, and understand that you're looking for people who want the same thing you want. And that is, they want to excel, they want to do better. So establish a minimum baseline activity. Write their name down. You got 6 people, put it on a piece of paper. Beside each name, write down their goals, what they want to achieve, and to the right of that, put their baseline activity. What is it that they can do? That's important that you establish that and understand that. So again, why are goals important? We would not do the activity if we did not have them. So the purpose of the goal is not necessarily to reach the goal. The purpose of the goal is not to hit the goal. The purpose of the goal is to make you bigger, make you stretch, make you a larger version of yourself. And number 2, create massive activity, new leadership coming in your team that you would never have done that. They would never have done that had you not set that goal. And you feel good even when you don't hit it, because you look at the good that was done from it. I had to repeat some of these points tonight because I really want to get that in some of your head, because some people just don't get it. They really don't get it. And that's the reason why they flounder in this business. I don't want you to flounder. So, and then step 4 was the weekly accountability. So weekly accountability is not where we yell at them after we looked at the report at the end of the week, and we're going to do that every week for this month, for the next almost 6 weeks here. Whatever weeks are left between now and the end of the year, okay? We're going to look every week. Let's look at our numbers. We're not going to call. We're not going to yell at them. Again, always praise them first. Look for the good that was done. Point that out. Very good to them. But let's just say that they set a goal and they really wanted to bust it out and they wanted to reach out to 10 people a day and get 10 people a day to look at their opportunity either through Facebook, Instagram, or their warm market list that they make. And that was their goal. But then all of a sudden, they're not even doing 10 a week, or they didn't do 10 that week. Then what? The thing about the accountability, again, is you got to get permission first. They got to give you that permission that it's okay to make them accountable. And we do it in a nice way. Hey, John, man, I'm so excited about your goals. You are so awesome, man. I wish I had more like you. Let me ask you this, though. So you shared your activity with me, and I took notes on that, what you're going to do every week for the rest of this year. And so here's the thing. Do you want me to make you accountable to those goals? Oh, you do. All right, good. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not your boss, okay? Hey, I'm your friend. And I'm not going to kick you in the butt either, okay? So here's the thing. I will do that because we are friends. I'm going to make you accountable. And then that's the thing. And so when they slack, and here's the thing. Well, here's what happens. What happens is, with the remaining weeks of this year, they're gonna a burst of energy. Here they go. They're excited about their goals. You got them fired up. They know you're going to support them. You're a doggone good cheerleader, okay? And so the thing is, and then when things don't happen the way they think it should, their expectations are not being realized. Then they take their foot off the gas, and they think, well, next month. I can do it next month. The problem is next month they do the same thing. Well, it doesn't happen the way they think it would. Their foot goes off the gas next month. It's always next month, next month, next month, next month. In this case, the time we got less than 6 weeks, next week. No. Here's what we want to do. Hold them accountable. And that's the reason why it's important that you check with them through the week. Okay, I'm not saying calling them every day. You don't have to call them every day. You can send them a message and all that, but I recommend that you do talk to them. And I recommend that when you reach out to find, let's say, 6 people that want to run right now till the end of this year, want to run, okay? that you do a Zoom call, do a face-to-face like I'm doing with you, except I'm not seeing your face, right? But pretend I was, okay? A face-to-face, that's what I love about a Zoom call, or if you want to do FaceTime, that's fine. But I want you to look at their eyes. I want them to see your eyes. Because when you set up the accountability agreement, I want it to be a meeting of the eyes. And so then when you get up with them, again, it's not getting onto them. It's like, hey, John, you remember your goals that you told me about? How your job is killing you and you really want an exit plan. And your exit plan was about being with your kids. It was about being a better father. That's the way you felt about it. Do you still feel that way? Yeah. Okay. You're slacking and you asked me to make you accountable, and I'm your friend. I'm not going to yell at you, man. I love you. Okay. I want to see you be that father. I want to see it. And I know things may have not turned out the way you want. I told you that this is not about just mountain peaks. This is about valleys. This is not about always the rainbow. It's about the rain. Remember? We talked about that. In other words, you're going to go through disappointments. And that's part of the trials that we go through. And that's okay. It makes us tougher. It makes us better leaders. And that's the reason why later on when we get those trophies on the stage, people will say we are lucky, and we know that's not true. It's because we put up with this crap. And I know you can do this, John. I really believe in you. See, that's important, friends. The accountability thing, we point out where they're slacking, but then we give confirmation of our belief that we know they're awesome, we know they can do this, and we believe in them. See, that's what they don't get in the world. They don't get that from their bosses and their jobs. They don't, they're not a lot. Most people don't do that today, but they got to get it from you. And that's part of the culture that you create in your team. And that's what keeps them with you, like me for 21 years, the kind of team that I have. So, and help them understand this is not like, it's not linear. Okay. The biggest breakthroughs in your business sometimes come at the very last week of the month. Sometimes it's the last 3 days of the month. And people that you were working on in the month and you couldn't get nowhere with those prospects and nothing was happening, and all of a sudden, boom, several of them reached out and said, hey, I'm ready to do something. I'm sorry, I was caught up with something, had problems, but man, I'm in it. I want to do this with you. And you get some to reach out and you're like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't quit. I'm so glad I stayed in the game. That's right. A lot of times it comes at the very end of the month. See, we have to understand, again, law of growth, it's really true. What we do this month, we don't see the results sometimes for weeks. Sometimes it might be 2 or 3 months before we see the results of what we did 2 or 3 months ago. And that's the reason why you keep activities going, because you're going to see those results day after day, week after week, but you're not going to see it, maybe for months. And that's just the way it is. We just have to understand what it is, and that's how it works. So keep that account. And I wanted to go over those steps again tonight with you, because when I talk about a plan that never fails, this is the kind of principles that you need to use even when you begin your new year. Month after month, this is what you need to do. And when you begin that, let's say January, you go into January, then again, look into your team. You may not run with those same 6 individuals. They might be doing fine. If they still need some help, sure. How long do you stay with an individual like that? Sometimes that question comes up. Well, I look at it just like when you get on the interstate in the United States. For those of you in other countries, you may not appreciate this, but maybe you have this in your country. But when you're on the interstate and you need to get somewhere and you see an open lane, how long do you stay in the open lane? As long as you can. As long as you can. How long do you run with that person? As long as you can. That's right. As long as you can. And so that's the key. See, we understand that most of our income in network marketing will come from two or three teams at the most, probably 2. So you stay with them as long as you can. Because why? You want that team as long as you can. I'm in right now with my team for 21 years. How long do I run with them? As long as I can. And I'll be doing that next year. And I'll be doing that the following year. As long as I can. When will you stop, Jeff? When I'm dead. Hopefully I'll see him on the other side. But so that's the thing. That's the attitude that we have. So beginning January, you're going to identify 6 people that are ready to run. In February, you're going to identify 6 people that are ready to run. You're always looking for people who are ready to run. Why? Because you understand that if you want an enduring team like mine that's going to last right now 21 years, if you want that, you got to drive those teams very deep. That is the key. That's the key to long-term success and wealth in network marketing is depth. Depth is your security. It's always your security. So what you do is, and those 6 people that you run with the remaining weeks of this year, you might be running with 6 people in their downlines beginning in January. See, you're just looking for people who go, I'm interested. I want to run with you. That's all you want. And as long as they're showing up with the activity, great. If they drop the ball and they're just not going to do what they said they were going to do, what do? You simply look into your team to find a replacement. That's all you do. You can even announce it in your Facebook group, and then just say, hey, I have an opening in my schedule to run with someone. Who would like to run with me the remaining weeks of this year? And next year, who would like to run with me in January? Put the word out. You'll see how people will step up. But again, look at your reports, reach out to new people. Who are the new people joining? Get to know them. Talk to your leaders. Call down into your legs, into your teams. Get to know those people. There's a reason why people become millionaires in this business, in network marketing. There's a reason for it. And it's strategic. It didn't just happen. Believe me, it was intentional and it was planned. And these are the key ingredients of what I'm talking about. And that's a sure plan for success. So I hope you got some value out of that. I wanted to go back over that. I will not go back over this tomorrow night. We will talk about something else. So everyone, have a great day if you live in Asia, if you're on that side of the earth. And for those of you in North South America, have a wonderful evening with your families. Thanks for getting on the call. Everyone have a good night.